Defense, I thought, played lights out all day, was able to create the turnovers, and offense was able to capitalize on those turnovers. 5 Missouri Valley Conference championships in a row is really hard to do. And this group has faced more adversity than any of the previous ones that I've been involved with injuries and tough losses and different setbacks. And I told those seniors in there, there's 14 guys that have a heart of a champion, that we're not going to let this thing go down. And each week they came back. The last 5 weeks, I think we've had as good a focus as a football team can have. We've had as good a game plans by the coaches. And each day we talked about winning the day. And each day they went out there and won the day. We didn't just win on Saturday the last 5 weeks, and 3 of those were on the road. We won every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to give us an opportunity to play really good football on Saturday. And so I told those guys how happy I was for them, for the players, as well as the coaches. It was a collective effort by both groups that they gave us an opportunity today, and I didn't think we would squander it at home, and those guys played lights out. So I'll open up for questions.
You mentioned all the things that this group has overcome, but how well do they define your vision of a class for Bison football? Just the work ethic, the character.
All those things, and it starts really when we returned from Frisco last year of Coach Kramer, and I tell you guys all the time, he's the best strength coach in the country. He and his staff keep hammering on those guys all spring long and all winter long and all spring, and develop players. We're a developmental program, and you saw that today. We played 2 redshirt freshman corners that hadn't had to play a lot. Jalen Allison had, but Dakota Reed hadn't played a snap, and he started and played a whole football game. Same with Jalen Wimbush. And it just goes to show you the next man up here is got to be ready to play. And our seniors, I can't say enough about those guys through the winter, through the spring, through the summer, of making sure those guys are ready.
Coach, you described the job your staff did, especially after the South Dakota loss, to rally this team to another conference championship.
Yeah, I told the guys in the locker room as well as the players that was a great effort by our staff all season long, in particular the last 5 weeks, to never let up. We put the hammer down hard after the South Dakota game, and those guys came up with great game plans. Our guys executed it. You got to give the credit to the players for executing the game plan, but each day making sure that we were really focused to get better, so that we understood the game plan better Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and led to Saturday.
What's the situation with your corners, CJ and Champ?
CJ had his knee scoped right after the Youngstown game, just to clean it up, and he'll be ready for the playoffs. And then Champ hurt his hamstring last week, and he was probably 75-80%, but we were trying to hold him, and we were able to.
How important was this stretch drive to put yourself in a position to possibly get a number 2 seed and get, if not playoff, home field throughout, at least for the first few rounds?
Well, the biggest thing we need is the bye, because of all the guys we have nicked up, and we need that week or this next week off. We'll work a few things, but really important for us to try to make a stretch run. It's hard to win as many games in the playoffs when you have to have that extra game on Thanksgiving. Without that rest, that's critical. So doesn't mean that'll equate to success, but in the same respect, I know our guys are excited about having a week off. At least we hope.
Can you talk about Zach Fraw's career, one that seems like it's lasted forever?
Yeah, it was one of those things during the week. That was one of the things we talked about. We'd like to get him the record, and he thought he was in, and he made a great catch on it. And luckily, they reviewed it. If not, we were going to run the same play again, because we're going to try to find a way. He deserves it. He's had a lot of injuries, had a lot of adversity, been an exceptional football player for us for a long time. This year was probably his best year. May not be statistically, but the leadership he gave a bunch of young receivers, as well as Zach, stayed healthy this year.
Talk about your defensive line play early, the sack and the recovery by Butler, and then Ambrosius gets the interception. I mean, just the havoc they created.
Yeah, really playing fast up front. The defensive ends, defensive tackles, they're all playing really fast. I thought Coach Entz had some really good calls. Coach Gazer and Coach Gain do a phenomenal job with those guys week in and week out. But our front four is playing really fast and really effective right now.
That moment with Carson Wentz getting him out on the field, was that something you had talked to him about throughout the week, or was it just kind of came up today? Or
No, I talked to Carson about it last Monday. I wanted to get him to dress because I wanted him to run out of that tunnel with his pads and helmet on and get the credit that he deserves for being an unbelievable Bison. And then as the week went on, I told him I'd like to get him in the game. And I told him I'd like to play him at quarterback, but he said no, he didn't know if he could take the snap. So I talked to Coach Polasek, and we had that planned out. If it came to that we would get him out there, and he deserved that. And he was the best player in FCS this year, period. And he had his season cut short, and I wanted him to be honored the way he should have been.
did he block it? You kind of pushed him out there a little bit. It seemed like he was getting emotional to kind of get him.
That's Carson. He wasn't really, he's not going to be in the limelight. He doesn't want to. Now, he'll be in the limelight when he plays on Sundays, which he will. But it was just an honor that he really deserved.
Was it running back then?
Yep. We wanted him as far away from the action as you could get. We were going to put him at wide receiver, but I was afraid somebody would get up in his face. Yeah, well, I was happy he got a chance.
You talk about 5 in a row. In some ways, is this more satisfying because of some of the issues and losing the quarterback and stuff like that?
Oh, without a doubt. Thinking of the adversity we faced, losing the first game of the season, and everybody thought the sky was falling in, and we ended up winning a few in a row, and then we lost to South Dakota here at home, and I still contend they're a good football team, but they beat us in here, and everybody kind of wrote a number of people wrote us off, wrote those guys off, and I knew this was a grind, and I thought 6-2 or 7-1 would get a chance at the league championship, and lo and behold, we were able to find a way to win 7 games, and very, very satisfying, especially with, you lose Carson Wentz, you lose all the kids we lost on defense. We played a ton of young guys, and even over these last 5 weeks that we've won ball games, you're still hearing a lot of redshirt freshmen, a lot of true freshmen, or a lot of redshirt sophomores making a lot of plays for us.
How did those young corners play today?
I'll have to look at it, Jeff, but I was pleased that they kept things in front of them. I saw a couple of good tackles, but I'll have to look at the film. But that's the future, as well as a couple of guys that are redshirting.
You described Caleb Butler and what this kind of emergence has been from when you and I were talking about him in spring ball to scoring a touchdown today.
Is he who recovered it? I didn't see who recovered it. He's playing some limited snaps because of what Greg and Braier is playing at such a high level. But those success stories, like Caleb Butler, that walk onto this program, that earn some playing time, are what make this so gratifying. Whether it's Brian Schatz or whether it's Joe Haig and whoever else, Nate Moody was. All those things are so important to our program, and it. Well, I think it helps our coaches go out and recruit walk-ons.
Do you think Greg Menard could have this type of year? Just the big plays, sacks, forced fumbles, all the havoc he's created.
Well, I think he's gotten better as the years has gone on, and he learned a ton from old number 53 about how to practice, about how to prepare yourself, and. It's starting to click. It started to click for him early in the season, and I know he had a little bit of a groin that probably slowed him up a couple of games. But Greg's been playing at an all-conference level without a question.
What are the emotions like for the seniors coming out, you greeting them out of the helmet?
It's always tough. This is only year 2 for me, but yet last year was really hard. This year was hard. What's hard, Dom, is the senior talks. Matt Larson was able to sit on those some this week, and you talk about your heart in your throat listening to some of those guys express how much Bison football means to them, and it's a special time. And I was really happy I'm happy that they're going to get another opportunity to play in the Fargo Dome, but it's always a tough week.